Hey guys, I'm Oliver with Prevolve Footwear. Today I'm going to walk you through some of the unique features and tools that we have that come along with your cleats. Take your time and really listen to everything in this video. If you want to get the most out of the cleats, there's a lot of unique things about them. So we recommend that you really understand all these different tools. We're going to start with the toe spacers. Most shoes, especially cleats on the market, are going to be squishing your toes together. Toe spacers are meant to space them out. And then the thickness of the toe spacer adjusts so that it fits your toe structure. We also have a strap, and that will also match the curvature of your toes, which is usually different person to person as well. First, with the toe spacers, we recommend that you try them out at home. Try out some of the different setups, see what you like, possibly mix and match some of the toe spacers to get the best setup possible. The first one and the simplest is the big toe size 3. So that comes with just a single strap. And then we have the size 1 full set, and these are going to be quite a bit smaller spacers. So what I'd recommend with these ones is that you actually can wear them with your toe socks. Then we have the full set size 2. Now this one you probably won't do it with toe socks just because it'll put too much pressure on your toes. This is a good one to do with a normal soccer sock over them. That will really help to keep them secure, keep them in place. When we put the toe spacers on, the full set, I recommend kind of doing each one individually a little bit at a time. So you're just going to kind of slowly work them in. If there's one gap that you feel like it's too much pressure or not enough space, then you can mix and match spacers from each set. You can pull them off the strap and rearrange them. And we also include the size 3 pinky spacer, which is going to be a little bit more width for your pinky, which you could interchange on the full strap. You can wear our cleats without the spacers, but to get the most out of our cleats, because of our wider toe box, we do recommend that you find a setup that you like, because that will keep your toes really secure and keep you from slipping during some hard cuts. They can be worn pretty much 24/7. Some people even like to sleep in them. And then also when it comes to keeping them clean, all you have to do is get a little soap with warm water, just kind of scrub them a little bit on the outside. And then one thing you want to do is make sure you dry them out in the sun or by like a heater or something like that. Because when water just sits in them, that's when they can kind of get the worst smell. So just make sure you dry them after you clean them. They come in this travel box, so this just helps you kind of keep them organized. Next, we have our Metpads, which come in 5 different levels. So all of our cleats come with this removable Metpad. The levels basically change like the height and the thickness of it. It's not arch support. It's actually more like an arch strengthener. It's a reminder to your arch to engage. But yeah, we like this as a tool to just help people get their foot strength back, essentially. Typically, we'll start you on a level 2. The Metpads are meant to increase the strength of your arch, to activate your transverse arch, and to get your toes pressed more into the ground and more activated during your movements. We recommend starting for a 20 or 30-minute light session and seeing how your feet feel at a certain level, either level 1 or level 2. And the next day, if you find that your foot is really tired, then you're probably at the right level. You'll probably want to keep training with that level of Metpad until you have a session where, you know, the day after your feet feel fine, they don't really feel tired. At that point, you're going to want to switch to a higher level. And to do that, it's pretty simple. You can just kind of stretch the insole forward, pull the Metpad out. You just slide it into the pocket in the front edge and the back edge. And from there, you can just slide the insole back in. And then the same concept applies. So once you go up a level, you want to just see how tired your feet get after a session. If they are tired, then you're probably at the right level. Stay there, keep working it, and over time your arch will get stronger. Once you're at a level 5, you might just want to stay there. You might like how it activates your toes, but you basically have kind of gotten the most out of the tool that you can, and your arch is ready for, you know, as much movement as you want. We are also going to show you the different types of stud patterns and configurations that we have. So starting with the least aggressive, we have our indoor model, which can be worn indoor, and also it can be worn on like artificial grass fields. Um, Usually you wouldn't really want to wear it if it gets wet out. That's when you might start losing a little bit of grip with this setup. The next is we have the AG pattern, the artificial grass. And obviously this is, meant for artificial grass. You might be able to get away with some shorter firm grass fields. But once it gets wet and a little more sloppy, you're gonna wanna move up to probably the FG model. This is also the conical version. So we have the bladed version of all of these three styles here. So this is what the bladed version looks like. It's got the more triangular stud. It's a little bit more aggressive. You're not going to be able to pivot as easily. So for really explosive, like quick changes of direction, you probably want to do something bladed in one of these versions. If you want something that's less chance of injury, then you'll go to the conical versions where you can kind of rotate in the ground a little bit easier. And this last one over here, this is actually for soft ground, and the only difference is that the length of the studs is a little bit more. So you can basically see like the length increases from each level. The indoor is the shortest, then you have AG, then you have FG, and then you have soft ground SG. So that's kind of the progression of the different stud patterns, and these apply to most of the sports available in our cleats as well. So yeah, that explanation hopefully covers questions, but feel free to reach out if you're confused or anything like that. So for me right now, I've got the big toe spacers set up, and we're gonna go over putting the cleats on and also just kind of a general overview of training with the cleats, kind of how you should progress into them. So I've got the big toe spacers on, and I'm just using some normal Nike soccer socks. I'm gonna throw the sock on over the toe spacer. When getting the cleats on, we recommend that you unlace them all the way to the bottom. That way you can really finesse the fit, and the tightness throughout the entire midfoot and even into the forefoot. If you don't unlace the bottom, you're not really gonna be able to adjust like how the forefoot fits. So take your time, unlace it all the way, can slide it on. We also recommend kind of tapping your heel a little bit. Make sure that your foot is sitting back in the shoe. Everything's one-to-one, so some of our customers, they can feel like it's a little tight, but at first, but just putting your heel back a little bit might just solve that problem for you. So next, I'm gonna lace it all the way from the bottom, tightening it up one eyelet at a time. And we have an extra ankle eyelet that you can choose to use or not. If you really want it tight around your ankle, then we recommend that. The other thing that's unique about the cleats is that our foam is a little bit more temperature sensitive than some of the other cleats on the market. So once you lace them up, you start running around. After 10 or 20 minutes, the shoes might just loosen up just a little bit. And at that point, you might take the time to just unlace them and lace them up one more time. If you're going into a game situation, that's something we'd really recommend, just so you have like the tightest fit you can get, and that'll be really best for performance. So talking more about the training philosophy around the cleats, you need to take your time. The cleats are more flexible, they're wider, you have the Metpads, you have the toe spacers. It's a lot for your foot to learn, especially if you haven't done a lot of barefoot training. So we recommend doing a short, like 20 to 30-minute session where you're not going 100%, where you're just, doing some light jogging, some light movements, and seeing how you feel after that the next day. See how your body feels, your calves, your lower leg, and your foot. And if you're like really, really tired, like, or even just like super sore, then you're gonna wanna train at that level in the shoes for a while. You're gonna wanna get to the point where you can do a light session and the next day, you don't feel super sore. And then at that point, you can ramp it up a little bit. You can increase the time, increase the intensity, and again, see how you feel the next day. Because our feet are so used to such stiff, rigid, narrow shoes, we tend to lose a lot of the sensitivity in our feet. So when you're playing, it can seem like everything's fine, but it's really the next day that is important to see how you feel, because your feet aren't going to tell you right away what's going on, just because the nervous system in there is kind of shut down. And yeah, it's just going to take some time to ramp that all up. So really to get to like the maximum level, getting the most out of our shoes, it can take 6 months to a year, depending on what kind of training you've been doing, what kind of barefoot movements, and that sort of thing. So take your time. Our goal is to get you stronger and not injured. And just like any muscle, if you overtrain it, you can get hurt. So go slow and understand the process, and you'll be a better athlete for it.